What's up guys, today I'm going to be going over 5 mistakes to avoid while power leveling in Edge of Fate. I already made a video kind of breaking down the basics of the portal system and leveling in this DLC, but I want to make a part 2 with some more knowledge I have now that I've passed 400. I'm currently 405 and I think I'm like 10th in the world or something like that, and I really haven't honestly been grinding like crazy. I've just been playing my normal amount of time that I would play during a DLC launch, and at 400 plus, I'm just playing for armor, and I'm just kind of naturally leveling over time. So I've learned a lot along the way, and I want to pass some of that knowledge on to you guys, because there was a lot of mistakes I was making, and a lot of mistakes that you probably are also, for the way this system works. So starting off with like an honorable mention, because it's not really a mistake you're making, it's just a feature of the scoring system that you probably don't know about. And that is that there are scoring brackets. So the high score you need for rewards, so A, B+, all the way down to, C or whatever, changes every 20 power levels. So for example, when you're 200 light, the score threshold you need for your rewards will stay the same all the way up to 220. When you hit 220, it will go higher. And that results in this weird loop of when you first hit the bracket, so let's say 200, it's going to be really hard to hit a rewards, but as you get closer to 220, let's say 219, it's going to be a lot easier. So if you ever feel like out of nowhere you need like way more modifiers on to hit a rewards or the highest reward tier you're trying to hit, it's because you just entered a new bracket, and right off the bat it's going to be a lot harder to hit those scores and progressively get easier as you approach the next one. And the whole reason it's like this is for the number 5 mistake you're probably making, which is not using the scoring multipliers correctly. So we look at the portal and load up an activity and inspect the reward package. If you hover over the score itself, you can see it says expected team score 10,000, challenge multiplier. So the challenge multiplier is just how hard the activity is and all of the modifiers you have equipped. And the final one is going to be reward multiplier, and this is the one that you probably make a mistake. As you see above that, it says your reward multiplier is determined by your power and your equipped new gear. So you have to make sure you're always equipping or infusing all the highest drops you get, and then on top of that, you definitely need to start keeping new armor and using it, because every piece of new gear you use will boost the score multiplier by quite a lot, where it's gonna make a difference between like playing on 10 lower difficulty to still get the same reward. So for example, in GMs, if I was using none of this system, I might have to play 40 under just to get a rewards, but if I equip all this new stuff and make sure I'm using my highest power, I can play on like 25 under. So now with all that new stuff on, changing nothing at all, the reward multiplier went up to 8.72, and now I'm at a B+ without even putting on any modifiers. So once again, you always need to be equipping or infusing to your highest power, and try to use as much new stuff as you can. Use a featured exotic, if possible, for both weapons and for your armor. And if you do those two things, it'll be way easier to hit the A rewards than if you weren't. And now for number 4, another scoring mistake you're probably making is using boons. First off, as you get higher and higher light, using boons is just not worth it at all. So for every boon you use, it's going to decrease the challenge multiplier and the combatant power by roughly 10, which means it's going to offset every plus 10 you put on and really not make it worth it. So for every boon I use, I have to make it 10 more power difficult, and that just is not worth the trade-off as you get higher and higher power. So honestly, I just would stay away from boons across the board. And the other mistake is just not using player stakes. The player stakes add multiplier but do not increase the combatant power. So just running all 4 in GM of the player stakes makes my reward score go way higher without increasing the combatant power. Now obviously there are some annoying things like no ammo. I'd rather play with no starting ammo than play on plus 10 harder difficulty. So player stakes are by far the best way to get a rewards without making the content really that much harder. It might be a little bit more frustrating, but not necessarily more difficult. So for example, if I wanted to get a rewards with no player stakes at all, I mean, I would have to be playing, let's see, pretty much a very difficult version of this, if it's even possible. As you see, I put on max difficulty 490 and I can't even get A. And that's just how strong the player stakes are, where they multiply without making it more difficult. So definitely run pretty much at all times as many player stakes as you can. Then number 3 is you really need to be focusing your lowest slot. So as you power level, there might be one slot, let's say your primary weapon, that's kind of falling behind and not keeping up with everything else, and that's really dragging you down, right? Power leveling in Destiny 2 has always been about reaching the next power level to boost all of your drops up one higher. And so if you have a piece that's really lagging behind, it is 100% worthwhile, if there is a portal activity that focuses that drop, to go do it. Now when you do those focused drops in whatever portal activity, it's not a 100% chance, but it's definitely worth playing the activity over and over until you do get one to drop. And that is the way the system is all designed. Is designed to kind of target what you need at the current moment and bounce around. And I would recommend, if you're just kind of playing more casually, definitely to do that. If you look at the entire grind from like 10 to 400, you really need hundreds of drops to get 400 light. And that's not even taking into account dupes, where you get drops in slots you don't need. So if you can avoid that at all and make sure to get the drops that you actually need, it's 100% worth your time. And even more worthwhile if you have less time to play, to make sure you're getting what you need. If you load up an activity and you only have like 30 minutes to play and you just keep getting the same drop over and over, I mean, it's gonna be pretty frustrating. So definitely try to focus what you need to level up even faster. Then the number 2 mistake you're probably making is just playing the Fireteam ops, which is really sad that that is a thing I'm saying. One of the 3 main PvE portals is practically not worth playing at all. Solo ops is much faster. Most solo ops playing decently efficiently can be done in 3 to 4 minutes if you're just playing a little bit more casually, maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and you get the 1 drop, right? Then in the Fireteam ops, you still only get 1 drop, but every activity is like 10 to 12 minutes long, if not even longer than that. And so it's just not worth the time investment. Solo ops is faster, generally easier, and more consistent to get the max score, because on Fireteam ops, you need to get final blows. If you're not killing literally everything, you might not even get a rewards, while in solo ops, you just have to beat the mission and do the bounty. So not only is solo ops more consistent, it's faster, easier, and overall, Fireteam ops is just kind of in a weird spot where solo is the best for obviously solo play, and one of the most efficient ways to power level in Edge of Fate. Then if you're in a Fireteam, Pinnacle ops with Encore with 3 drops is also pretty even with efficient solo ops. And Fireteam is just kind of in the middle in no man's land, where it's not really worth anything. It has the same drops that solo ops has, so it's not even like a different loot pool. Currently, there is just no reason to even load into a Fireteam ops. So going forward, hopefully they kind of figure out the balance between those 3 different portals. The answer might just simply be 1 drop from solo, 2 from Fireteam, and 3 from Pinnacle. I'm not sure. Obviously, every activity within those portals take a different amount of time, so it is definitely a hard thing to balance. But right now, Fireteam ops is just not the playlist you want to be in. And the number 1 mistake is not saving season pass armor for your 2nd and 3rd character. The best way to level all 3 characters currently is get your main character as high as you're comfortable with. If that's 200, cool. If it's 300, great. If it's 400, awesome. Whatever level you're trying to get in this DLC, try to just play 1 character to that point. Then when you get under 2nd and 3rd, just pull all the armor from the season pass to get all of your characters to the same level instantly. And that's because the season pass armor drops on light. So let's say you get 400 on your Warlock. When you move over to your 2 characters, you can use obviously the same weapons and then pull the armor from the season pass to get to the exact same point your first character is at instantly, instead of having to go into the portal and get lucky drops in all of your armor slots. It's just going to save a little bit of time. And not to forget a lot of infusing materials. Once you get to 400 plus, infusing a lot of old stuff, I mean, really starts to drain your resources like really fast. So any way to quickly get to new gear and avoid infusing old stuff is just definitely worthwhile. So if you can, just save your season pass drops for when you're comfortable leveling up your other 2 characters and getting them to the same point as your first. And then honorable mention number 0, is just simply playing past or expecting to play past 400 power in this DLC. Once you get to 400 power, the only way to increase your power is from the randomly upgraded +1 tier drops in the portal or whatever activity you're playing. So as you play through Advanced, Expert, Master, and Grandmaster, all of your drops have a chance of being +1 tier. It's kind of like the equivalent of like an old Prime Engram. And when that happens, let's say in Master, normally you get tier 3. If that happens, it would go to tier 4, right? So once you're in Grandmaster or 400 plus, you normally get tier 4s, but there's a slight chance of it upgrading to tier 5, and that's the only time you get higher power drops. Your normal drops from A rewards are on light. So this takes the system that was already pretty bad from 300 to 400, where you need like hundreds of drops to get to 400 light, to being practically the same amount of drops needed, but like a 1 in 20, 1 in 10, I don't know what the number is, chance of even getting that drop in the first place. So it's going to take hundreds, like 500 plus clears of Grandmaster activities with A rewards to get to 450 or in future seasons 500. It just is not worth even remotely thinking about. The only purpose to get to 400 currently in my eyes is just to get consistent tier 4s and maybe chance at tier 5s, but actually power leveling past on purpose 400 is practically just not worth it in any way. And I might talk about this more a little bit later once I played more Edge of Fate, kind of done all the things, and make a video maybe about all the positive things I have to say about the DLC, then another one about all the negative, or both in the same video, I'm not sure. But yeah, this system definitely needs a lot of tuning, and hopefully some of the things I mentioned in this video will help you not be as frustrated and help you power level a little bit quicker. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for the video. If you have any other tips, leave them in the comments down below. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.